on News Talk.
Off the Ball.
In association with Air. Watch every UEFA Champions League and Europa League game on the Air Sport Pack.
This is News Talk.
Hello, you're very welcome along to Tuesday night's Off the Ball. We've got a busy one for you this evening. Andy Lee in studio in about 25 minutes time or so, talking about the heavyweight division, which is shaping up very nicely for 2018. I mentioned before news, not many people born in Iraq have gone on to play hurling for Leitrim, but we're going to talk to one of those people just after 8 o'clock or so. Zach Muradi is going to be here in studio. Well, he was here earlier on, an amazing character with an amazing story, so we'll play that out after 8 o'clock. Kevin Cullen talks NFL before the football show, which will include Miguel Delaney on the Sanchez deal and Raphael Honigstein on Jurgen Klopp, who it seems now, I think we can safely say, is doing a very good job and things are going in the right direction. 53106 as ever is the text number, and we are live here on our fancy TV show, streaming on Facebook and Twitter and Periscope and everywhere, as well as just on the radio. Dan McDonald, hello, you're here.
Hi, Joe.
On the radio, how quaint.
The radio, the studio, the internet, we're everywhere.
You're about to launch into a rather quaint, the Twitters and the Facebooks and all that kind of way of describing it, weren't you?
Richie McCormick is here.
Hey Joe, you alright?
I'm doing very well. So busy show, an eclectic show. The people have spoken, Dan. They certainly spoke last night. They don't want to hear a goddamn word ever again, or certainly for the next while, about Martin O'Neill. So
just got to give them what they want.
Yeah.
Or not what they don't want. But then again, like, you do have people on the Twitters as well who are going on about it, incessantly as well. So I think there is a vocal minority that are just vocal majority perhaps that are fatigued.
It's died down today noticeably though.
I'm a touch fatigued. What is the what can we just sum up in a line? Is O'Neill in town doing press tomorrow?
Well, that's up in the air. I think what people probably want is something to fill the void, i.e. words from the people that are involved in this, be it Martin O'Neill or John Delaney, a bit of finality, a bit of clarity, and maybe move on. There is a gathering in town tomorrow where John Delaney is going to be at it, and there's a possibility that Martin O'Neill might be there. Whether he's ready to speak, we will find out tomorrow.
Okay, so that's the latest. That's the situation.
That's pretty much where we're at, yeah.
Fair enough. So Ryan Giggs, we didn't really touch on Ryan Giggs at all.
No,
last night in the show.
A slightly different international management type of story. I don't know if you happened to catch Ryan Giggs' press conference yesterday. It was like the Sky Sports News unveiling, and I know we have a different. I mean, we've had our own unveiling stories with Stan over the years, and probably sort of the immortal line, which sort of didn't really work out for me. I'm the gaffer, the buck stops with me, and the trap fanfare, and so on. We have Ryan Giggs on the defensive pretty much from the start, trying to explain, well, Ryan, you didn't play much for Wales when you were a Welsh international, and sort of defending his commitment at his opening press conference. It was strange. I
didn't actually realise just how impressive his evading the friendlies was. He missed 18 friendlies in a row.
It's hard to do.
From 91 to 2000.
That's a horrible injury record, to be fair to him, Joe. That was a horrible injury record. We shouldn't be laughing at it.
It's like missing a load of days in school at a row. Like, when does the excuse start to sort of wear thin a small bit?
Stan doesn't show up of a Thursday. That's just the rule.
Yeah. It's sort of
the BBC
3 weeks in a row.
BBC Wales played a vox pop of reaction to Giggs in the news, and I presume they try and even things up and get some good, some bad for a more interesting vox pop. Yeah. But the 4 responses they played were: one person said not enough experience, which will be levelled at him. Another person said quite pointedly, he's not a role model, is he? Let that hang. Somebody else said the best one was, it's good he's Welsh. There's that. And one guy said he likes fast football, so that's good for Wales. And that was the general.
I'd love to know the sample size that they took
probably
to get to the
whoever was in Sainsbury's that morning, I think, in the car park. It looked to be all the same.
Yeah, but I'd say they might have had quite a few of a number of those headings there, I think.
It would be nice if when they did a vox pop they put underneath how many people had said that.
Yeah.
Like 45 people said this, 10 people said this.
You want the Family Fortunes version of a vox pop.
Yeah.
So essentially our top answer was,
a more scientific
he's not a role model
version, as opposed to this kind of referendum rules where every viewpoint out there gets equal hearing.
Because I think they did like a Facebook Live thing of the appointments. Now I'm not really up to speed on my old Facebook Live.
Well, you're on it right now.
But there you go. But if angry faces start appearing, I think that's a bad thing. And it had sort of the Giggs, the screenshot of Giggs speaking with all these angry red faces, people reacting to it, irate, and not liking his words very much.
Well, so interesting.
They've appointed inexperienced managers before who are former internationals, but they haven't had somebody who is of the calibre, player-wise, of Giggs in charge of the side. Like, there's literally no way of telling which way this is going to go. You presume that he's been given the job, you'll have to honour his commitment or think that he will be committed to the job and try and do his best at it. And the fact that it's his first management job, full stop, he'll want to do his best at it. But they've no way of telling. Absolutely no way of telling what way a Ryan Giggs side is going to set up, how a Ryan Giggs squad is going to assemble, how the players are going to take to him in a training session. But they've been here before. Like, I think Hughes might have been his first, if not his first job. Gary Speed was in a similar position as well.
Yeah, they tend to do that.
They're okay with it.
And the word is they have both a verbal and a written agreement, which is just blowing my mind.
It's revolutionary.
It's
a revolutionary
It's
stuff.
a bit over the top when you think about it, actually. Written and verbal, what does the man have to do?
Some kind of contract they seem to be working with.
They may have when it came to hiring Ryan Giggs, seen the acclaimed Life of Ryan on ITV. Did you see the Life of Ryan at the time?
The first time this came into my life was today. I'm not going to.
Oh, really? Okay, well, I saw that the Life of Ryan was very good. It was genuine. I mean, it was terrible, but it was good in that. It was good in that you got to see a little bit behind the scenes at Carrington. There was, not much, but there was some cool. There were lots of slow motion montages, like when he brought in Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes and Phil Neville to be part of his coaching staff. There was a slow motion of them emerging.
It's pretty hard to make Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes look good in slow motion, Joe.
Training session.
Did Scholes enjoyed that sort of? Very much.
Probably not, no. But so it was when Giggs took over after was it Moyes? Yeah, till the end of the season. There were a few games like he didn't do terribly. I remember there was a big win against Norwich. But anyway, last game of the season, the cameras Giggs has given the cameras access. And so, I mean, the man can give a team talk. I will say that for him. He can give a team talk.
Team today, you're going to have to work hard because these work the bollocks off and they're good at home. But the team that we've got experience, we've got pace, we've got players who are comfortable on the ball. They do die at the end. So, subs, you might come on and win the game. So concentrate, watch the game. But it's the last game of the season. We want to end on a high. We want to give our fans something to shout about. City or Liverpool are going to win the league. Give our fans something to shout about. It's been a frustrating season, but it's a good game to play in and one that I'm looking forward to because of the exciting players that we've got on the pitch. Okay?
One of the quotes of the ages there, isn't it? Let's give our fans something to shout about.
It's like a really bad press conference.
What didn't happen there is everybody went, yeah! It's just like, stunned silence.
Subs, watch the game. You might come on and win it.
But I assume there's an element of keeping it simple there. That's the whole thing. I mean, he's kept it very, very,
very simple there.
It's just sort of something. I mean, is that the tone of the whole documentary? I'm sort of now beginning to want to seek it out, but
what badge level do you have to kind of get to give that kind of team talk?
What
badge level?
Badge level.
Like, so the way you have to go through your UEFA A license.
Oh yeah, you have to go all the way to pro.
Like, surely. Like that's knocking around B or C direction. That's an insult to the sort of licensing process. But is this part of the rehabilitation of Ryan Giggs? This process here,
the documentary.
I
think it was. Yeah, there was plenty of family time in there. I think it was a bit of that. Yeah. But the team talks weren't great.
I think a Martin O'Neill documentary on the team talk front would probably be better. For all his faults, I think there's never really any sense of complaints about his dressing room style as an orator, a last minute motivator. I don't know. I mean, maybe he is just guilty of treating that game with the respect that it deserved.
It finished 1-1, by the way. Much in keeping with the team talk, it was a drab 1-0.
But what was the volume level of the fans, Joe? That's the most important thing, clearly, from that speech.
And even Liverpool or City are going to win the league. Liverpool City going to win the league anyway. What a downer that is for everyone.
Didn't even give an opinion. Didn't even tell you which one.
Yeah.
It was just
So I don't know. That was him almost knowing the cameras were on him and, in a sense, auditioning. This was like the unveiling of Giggs. This is what I can bring to your club. This is what I can do. Yeah.
His friendly team talks are going to be particularly interesting at Wales, though.
Yeah. So anyway, that's Giggs. I dare say we'll be doing pieces on Ryan Giggs' Wales over the next couple
Could draw
of years.
them next week.
Of course. Yeah, the League of Nations.
Can we not talk about that?
No, save it till next week.
Save the good stuff till next week.
Save the big stuff, but we can play them 1 in 4 chance, I think so.
It'll be. I mean, we'll all be very interested. It will be not a million miles away from when Neville took over at Valencia, and you're like, okay, what's this guy got? We've all grown up watching Giggs, the player. So Richie, your news round starts with Champions Cup press conferences, all the rugby people were out today.
Yeah, Peter O'Mahony has emerged as a doubt for Munster's crucial final Champions Cup pool game with Castres. The captain even is nursing an ankle injury following last Sunday's bonus point defeat to Racing. Head coach Johan van Graan says they'll monitor the injury this week, but he and O'Mahony are hopeful the problem isn't serious.
Yeah, look, I'm working with the medical staff. I'm hoping to be fit. You know, I have a couple of things to come through, so I'll see how the week goes.
Now, Van Graan is also backing their controversial locker Brant Grubler. The Profans have been criticised for signing a player that had previously served a 2-year drugs ban. In 2014, Grubler was found to have used a banned steroid when tested following a Currie Cup match. Conor Murray says today that Grubler paid the price and learned from his mistakes, and that the former Racing man is upset by the recent coverage around his signing. And it was a sentiment echoed by Peter O'Mahony and indeed Van Graan, who was speaking to our own Neil Tracy.
No, not at all. Nothing more to comment on that. Now he served his ban. We had managed to stand behind him. Nothing more to say.
And there were also questions about, you know, what it says to the academy players and things like that. Do you accept it's going to damage the brand or anything of Munster's unique identity?
No, I don't want to comment at this stage.
Dave Van Graan, Neil put a few questions to him. Basically, no comment was the gist of Van Graan, and then, as you mentioned, O'Mahony and Murray came out and said, we're behind this guy, everybody deserves a second chance, which was kind of the predicted response, but that's absolutely the way Munster have gone today. Leinster then?
Yeah, they have shown a clean bill of health ahead of their final Pool 3 meeting. That's with Montpellier this Saturday. Johnny Sexton has shown no ill effects from the knock he took in scoring a try in last Sunday's win over Glasgow at the RDS. Adam Byrne, though, he remains unavailable, having undergone a procedure on a knee injury.
What have you, from the outside looking in, have you looked in much in this Grobler case over the last week? What did you make of it?
I mean, I think, you know, there's been some very interesting discussions on this show and across the newspapers, and I mean, I would sort of broadly agree with the point of view that I think you expressed. I think Rory O'Connor was on, and I mean, it is, of course, it's damaging for the brand. I don't think how you can avoid that conclusion. I do think, you know, as a society, and you have to embrace the idea of someone being rehabilitated, that, you know, if you believe in some kind of justice, then someone serves a period of time and then they should be allowed to continue.
There is that not in my backyard syndrome, though. Yeah,
I know, I appreciate that, and I mean, I think maybe it's hard for people to comment when they're talking about a specific individual, you know, a player who is in their dressing room or they may encounter. I think if you broadly discuss the length of the bans, you know, what is a suitable period of time, and I think Philip Brown might be speaking tomorrow. I've no doubt, you know, this debate will rumble on. I feel a tiny tinge of sympathy for the player, but not really, you know, that much, you know, that, you know, he's become the centre point for a broader issue, which is about how the sport is policed, surely, and that is the broader point here.
Yeah, I'd probably feel some sympathy for him in the sense that he was signed and probably thought this had all been talked about.
I wouldn't feel sympathy on that basis, though.
Irish rugby was ready for this, and now he's suddenly been plunged into it without knowing this was all about to kick off midway through the season. But beyond that, I mean, you look at what he did, he admitted to it. It's brazen. It's an open and shut case. It is brazen.
But they made the decision. Like, the problem was with the people who chose to employ him again.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. Somebody says, I can't get the gig story at all. Bellamy went for the job, supposedly interviewed well, with the backing of some key players. I'm biased as a Liverpool fan, no doubt, but at least he wanted to play for them, says Dan. And Bellamy comes across very well, I think. Like, has done some mad things, and more than a pest on the field. Obviously, you talk to any of the lads we have on, Kenny Cunningham, tell you Bellamy would not shut up.
Stephen Hunt recently spoke about him as well, didn't he?
Yeah, so definitely a pest as a player, but there's a real brain there as well. I thought he might be in the running. Maybe he's upset too many people in the Welsh FA. I don't know.
Well, there was a cynical take, although I suppose Bellamy brings a box office value too, but Wales, a bit like ourselves, are facing into a sort of a miserable period of time without a major tournament coming and a long run up to something else, and that maybe is this their commercial bring Roy Keane back in type thing, where they feel in some ways, you know, this will get a buzz going and sell some tickets.
I've seen his team talks, the band's box office.
Well,
we had gigs had to do a few press conferences.
I feel like, you know, he hasn't maybe set things off on the right note in that regard, but maybe it's got the Welsh team back in the national discussion, even if the discussion is a lot of people still don't like this guy.
Yeah, well, there's definitely been a big
his dad was interviewed today, I think. You know,
his dad.
It just keeps. Yeah, the family's still. They're still up for giving the odd interview about Ryan, you know, which
not using his name often enough, though.
Which might become a slight problem for him, I think. You know, if they have a couple of bad results, and then, you know,
Rodri's dragged out.
Your dad's had a go at you here, you know.
And what did his dad say?
His dad only referred to him as the ex-footballer.
Right, okay.
So that'll give you a sense of where they're at in terms of their relationship.
Did he really? Okay,
Yeah.
God, that's messy.
That's why I was curious about the family stuff I know obviously you're probably speaking more about, I don't know, different part of the family, I think, but obviously his dad's side and stuff, it seems to be pretty...
Well, he was Wilson, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Until he was 11 or 12, which was his father's name. Yeah. Okay, God, that's messy enough for him. So, Eddie Hearn then's been talking about Katie Taylor.
Yeah, he concedes that Katie Taylor's homecoming remains up in the air at the moment. The WBA lightweight champion was slated to defend her title in Dublin on April 14th. Hearn was asked today about that date by IFL TV following today's Anthony Joshua Joseph Parker press conference.
We're looking at April 14th in Dublin. There's an opportunity to fight on the Jacobs card on April 28th. There's also a massive fight that we're planning on April 14th as well that could go instead. It's all a bit up in the air at the moment, but if Danny Jacobs fights Spike O'Sullivan, which I hoped would happen, but doesn't look like Spike's side want it. Not Spike himself, by the way. Sorry, Spike, because I know you'd fight anyway, but it's politics, basically, which is a shame because it's a big payday, big fight. Possibly Andy Lee might get the opportunity as well against Danny Jacobs. So if that's the case, I would like to do Katie Taylor in the unification fight potentially there, and then do her for the undisputed fight in September in Dublin. So we'll see.
Yeah. Genuinely, we had Andy Lee booked before to talk just about the heavyweight division, which is quite interesting. I'm sure lots of you saw Anthony Joshua and the Graham Norton show. But suddenly his name has dropped into Danny Jacobs' territory, so we'll ask Andy about that. JP, eagle-eyed out there, has found a quote from Ryan Giggs' dad in The Sun.
Oh dear.
He's put himself first, and all he cares about is his TV punditry and opening swanky hotels in Manchester. Now when I see him on TV, I switch off. All the family do. I feel like going there and having it out with him. He's not fit for the job. It stinks. The Welsh team manager is someone who is respected and looked up to in society. So I don't think that will be the last time they go to Danny Wilson for a quote on his son.
That's, first defeat, first sticky point, you know.
That's unbelievable stuff, isn't it?
That Nations League loss to Ireland somewhere down the track. It's going to be pretty ugly in the Wilson household.
Arsene Wenger.
Speaking of ugly, manager Arsene Wenger was handed a 3-match touchline ban after telling referee Mike Dean he was not honest and a disgrace. The Football Association today published the written reasons for his punishment, which also included a £40,000 fine. Dean's evidence read as follows: as we've entered the dressing room after the game, Mr. Wenger stood behind us in the doorway and told the West Brom steward to let him in. He was very aggressive, leaning towards me, pointing aggressively at me, saying, "You're not honest," on numerous occasions. I replied, "So you're calling me a cheat?" He replied, "I maintain what I say. You're not honest." He then said, "You've done this to us many times before. You're supposed to be professional. You're a disgrace." Oh. He was then ushered out of the room by the West Brom safety officer. Wenger's ban expired in that 2-1 defeat to Bournemouth on Sunday.
Right.
He's taking it well anyway. There's no sign of the fire sort of going out there. In terms of his sort of, I mean, it was a disgraceful decision, though. I mean, if ever there was a time where you expect him to be particularly angry,
I can't remember this. Was this over Christmas?
This was the late penalty.
Look,
West Brom.
That is a blur for everyone listening. It's a blur. I know it's a big deal in Arsene Wenger's world.
You were full of celebrations and turkey sandwiches. You just didn't care. You're like, well, Arsenal were playing what?
How bad?
It was a late penalty. Arsenal had just scored at the other end, hadn't they? Yeah. And then West Brom broke down, and it was a handball. Was it Chambers? I can't think.
I think it was Chambers.
I think it was Chambers.
Chambers are holding. I think.
Yeah,
it was Chambers.
And it was one of these ones where it clearly wasn't a handball offence or a penalty offence. It was given within 30 seconds of them scoring. You know, but it's a bit of a blur to me now. Actually, now that you mention it, but pretty much a bad one.
Yeah. So Alexis Sanchez. Then we'll be talking to Miguel Delaney on the football show about where this is going. I mean, I said it was Manchester United, but Chelsea, you've been linked with him as well?
Yeah, and Chelsea boss Antonio Conte, though, says he isn't aware of any approach for Arsenal's Alexis Sanchez. It is reported his club are interested after Manchester City last night pulled out of the race to sign the forward. United are the favourites to bring him in. Apparently they've agreed a £400,000 a week package for the Chilean, but the agent of Henrik Mkhitaryan says the deal to bring Sanchez to Old Trafford is dependent on the Armenian Henrik Mkhitaryan moving to Arsenal. Mino Raiola says if his client decides to stay or indeed go elsewhere, Borussia Dortmund said to be interested as well, then Sanchez will not become a Manchester United player. Theo Walcott, meanwhile, he's been on Merseyside today completing a medical before joining Everton, while it was reported today as well that Arsenal are in talks to sign Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang from Borussia Dortmund.
The financing on this is, I mean, it's not overly cheap, the deal that United might be putting together for him. So especially if Mkhitaryan goes, the agent, it seems, is getting 10 million, which is just fantastic.
Standard.
Yeah. 25-30 million for Mkhitaryan. You throw in his wages, which will be 400 grand a week, Even just in cash terms, you're talking 65 million, the maths I saw, threw it all together, 65 million plus Mkhitaryan. So, yeah, it's a long way off just the 25 million and he's yours in January situation. Like, United are paying a good chunk of money for him here. Maybe a little bit less than market value if he was properly under contract.
But it is unusual with the contract situation. You do generally paying a bit more in January than you might, because the perception is you're buying for some desperate reason at this point. So you expect a small bit of inflation above what you might think contractually.
The reason United are buying now is in the summer he would go to City. Yeah. That's the desperation.
Yes, they have to get it done this time round, and they have a bit of wiggle room. Maybe with Mkhitaryan, but that angle is an interesting one with Raiola. And I mean, these guys, they're pretty influential in their own way, because they've got other clients and other stuff that they can hold against people for a longer term.
Raiola would obviously be keen to talk that one up, but the fact that Mkhitaryan has 2.5 years left on his contract, doesn't have to go anywhere. Can sit and just earn his money at United and annoy everybody and make that deal not happen. I mean, that's the clincher.
Last story.
Two Premier League sides looking to avoid upsets at the hands of League One opposition in tonight's FA Cup third round replays. West Ham entertaining Shrewsbury, with the Irish under-21 international Josh Cullen restored to the West Ham midfield. No word on his teeth there. While Riyad Mahrez captains a Leicester side that play host to Fleetwood Town, for whom Keane Bulger starts. No Paddy Madden for them. Elsewhere, a visit from Manchester City in round 4 awaits the winners of tonight's meeting of Cardiff and Mansfield. Anthony Pilkington starts for Cardiff. Sheffield Wednesday, they face Carlisle United, and Stevenage go to Reading. That one kicks off at 8 o'clock.
Cheers, Richie. That is our news round done for this evening. Dan McDonald's here all evening. Andy Lee will join us live in studio next.
Off the Ball on News Talk,
in association with the Air Sport app, allowing you to cast your favourite sporting action from your tablet or mobile phone straight to your TV.
Lunchtime Live.